Emotionally unavailable. Rules of modern dating and understanding women. It's complicated channel. Now, I really like this meme about emotional damage. And yeah, it's really fun to watch, to just read. Whenever I see this word, I just need to read it in this accent. In any case, let's just pop into the reaction straight ahead. I won't even give any extra comments except for hello, zynoVII7. Like and subscribe to the YouTube channel if you're watching this on YouTube. Let's get to a reaction. Oh, I want to go to bed already. Got work to do.
Have you ever ghosted somebody, and if so, why?
Because
Yes.
I was in a relationship.
Not me, but her.
Yes, definitely.
Why don't you then come clear if you were in a relationship?
And probably because I didn't want to confront him.
And I'm
It's all the same. You're just afraid, and then I don't get it. Be straight on. Ghosting is super weird. It's like you're trying to send a message, but then you don't get it sent. I always felt weird for me, to be fair.
I'm really bad at confrontation. Honestly, that's why.
Then learn.
I have not ghosted somebody. I'm pretty honest about telling them that I don't want communication and
Respect.
for whatever reason it is.
I had only known them for one night, and they had called me 6 times and texted me 12 times the night right after meeting, and it scared me away, to be honest.
Are women more likely to give out their number and ghost men, or are men more likely to get a girl's number and not call?
I think it's from the woman's side. I'm sorry. Probably talking from an experience as a guy, but I have never called or texted a woman whose phone number, or because mostly nowadays you ask about Instagram accounts. I always texted those who asked. So probably talking from my perspective, I would say women, but I could be wrong.
I'll get your number and ghost you.
Women are most definitely more likely to get a guy's number and ghost them. Because
Boom.
it's kind of hard to say no then and there. So when we get the number, we can just like block them and be like, okay.
It's hard being a woman when you're asked for your number and you kind of feel a pressure to say yes, even if you're not interested. So
You just straight ahead ask. Like I asked, I think it was actually today. I went to a girl into a library and asked for her phone number because I thought she was attractive. I wanted to ask her out. She said that she had a boyfriend. Straight ahead, she was like, okay, I have a boyfriend, so what kind of relationship are you interested in? And then I said, well, if you have a boyfriend, then it kind of cuts out my plan. So thanks for your time. Sorry for bothering, and good luck. It's easy. You just tell people what, depending on what you don't need to feel the pressure, just need to know the intentions. And if you don't want to do, you say no. Probably explain them why, because sometimes it sounds so rude. But in general, yeah, you just say how it is.
Women are definitely more likely to go ghost men because men are fucking creepy as hell, and there's a lot more of them that are being creepy as hell than women are. So
Yeah, the problem I think often with ghosting is that whenever some of these men, they start interacting, they start actually, like a woman tells them that no, we're not interested, and they still don't give up. They still try to like hit it and hit it and hit it. And with those men, yeah, there is a problem. Unfortunately, they will get ghosted all the time. I'm sorry.
for sure, they're going to say, oh yeah, sure, take my number, and then just forget about it. And I know for sure that that's a fact.
Why don't women typically approach men?
Intimidation.
Traditional, probably, standards.
if you're like out at a bar or something, maybe you just want a free drink.
I don't think it's very traditional. I think it's always kind of been the way that a man will approach a woman.
Yeah. Wait, am I recording this? I think you're watching on YouTube, but I don't, because I'm on Twitch right now. Yeah, I'm recording. It's fine. Let's go.
So I think it's a big confidence thing for women. I know it's hard, definitely.
That's
to
also
approach
true.
A man.
Women
and
have
context,
way less
I think
confidence than most
doing
men.
it and succeeding, even in just saying hello, can be a big confidence booster.
Yeah.
If women are the ones who fear rejection, why are women always the ones complaining about men not showing their emotions?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's one trick he does. He asks a question. I think he kind of like split this around. they're complaining about their lack of emotions because I don't think that expressing like a hello and coming up to a person is more of an emotional thing. I can assure you that if a girl likes you, it will be way easier for her to tell you that she likes you whenever she will push the first step. I think that the closer people get, the more emotional does the woman get. And that's why, and they criticize men who are not going that much emotional as them on the same line. Probably this. Again, it's complicated.
I don't know if they're necessarily putting their emotions on the line just because they're the ones approaching us. You know what I mean? Because it isn't like a two-way street when we're both having a conversation. We kind of have to both be emotionally available. Just because you're the one that approaches me doesn't necessarily mean that you're more emotionally aware of your feelings than I am. You know?
Let me ask you this.
Yeah, that's
Who's more
true.
likely to play hard to get, men or women?
W-O men. I think absolutely women.
Probably, yeah, women,
So
definitely.
then wouldn't that mean that women are the ones who are more emotionally unavailable?
I think that's...
Again, as I said, the more close they get, I think the woman builds up way more trust and she goes emotionally. Whereas for men, it's not only, I think, the question of trust, because men don't open that much feelings even in front of their friends most of the times. Well, whereas women, like, if they have a person who they consider their very good friend, they can emotionally tell them everything, and I mean everything. Like, there's some stories that I sometimes overhear women talking, and I'm like, imagining me saying this to my friends. There's no way they're finding out that. So I think I think that men's emotions, they are not necessarily built around trust. If that makes sense, what I just said.
Okay, because I think women have more emotional intelligence, then yes, I agree. You're right. I think you're right.
Initially, girls will play hard to get, but guys will turn the table and play hard to get to keep it interesting and fresh.
If men risk rejection, wouldn't that mean men are the ones who are more emotionally available because they're the first ones to be vulnerable?
Ooh, honestly, I would say yes when you put it in those terms, although I don't think we think about it that way.
They're emotionally stronger to, let's say, control, probably, to keep, but I don't think that to correlate, if we can say it like this. No, I not. Is correlate a good word for this? To those who are more, they're more. How do I say it right? Men are better in controlling their emotions, but women are better in managing emotions. That's the word I was looking for. I think that will be the best way to put this.
Society.
Do you believe that being in love requires you to be vulnerable?
Yes.
Yes.
How can you be vulnerable without being taken advantage of?
Just be yourself.
You can and you will be taken advantage of, but you have to know
Always.
that your partner has your best interest in mind, because it's a big
And
aspect
set
of
boundaries
trust.
as well.
Trust is always the most important thing about relationships, and that's why you need to be vulnerable in order to have love, and you can't be vulnerable unless you're trusting.
Who's more likely to play hard to get, men or women?
Honestly, I think women. I think women are very calculated, not necessarily in a bad way when it comes to dating, but there's a lot of thought that goes into literally every single thing you do.
If the answer is women, wouldn't that mean women are the ones who are more emotionally unavailable?
Yeah, I mean, I think it can be hard for a woman.
He already asked this
again,
question,
speaking
so
from
I'm not
personal
going to repeat
experience, to, like, let your
myself.
guard down. I think it can be very difficult, and sometimes playing those sort of games and playing hard to get can kind of be like a defense mechanism almost. Like, when we're looking for something, we're looking for something, and just, like, no games.
If women want men to just be themselves,
That's such a true statement, I think. Oftentimes, although for men definitely. For women, I'm not sure that if they're looking for something, they're looking something. No. They would still want it to get in the way where they were not looking for it, but rather it came to them. So not all women. Again, I'm talking about the most of those who I've met through my life and seen on the internet also. Not talking that all, so that don't generalize it all. Don't generalize everything.
Why is approaching women a skill men need to learn? Why does he need game?
Well, he needs game because, like, we're not going to be the first to approach you. And, like, the way you approach us is not you have to
Because
I spotted it now, but it's a freaking snake.
a red flag, so.
how should a man know if a girl genuinely likes him or if she just wants attention?
That's a hard. I think that's a question that will never be answered.
That's a
That's very complicated.
If she's putting
just took the words out from my mouth.
In the effort to actually talk to him and text him.
He's a womanizer. Don't listen to shit he's saying.
Could have just respectfully came, said something smart, but no, you decided it's better to come and talk shit on the guy.
He's a womanizer. Don't listen to shit he's saying.
I think if a male can take attention away from a female and she could find a way of still sticking around, you know, I think that's a pretty good indicator that she sees something else than just a short-term attention. Because seeking attention is a short-term behavior. It's not a long-term aspect of female behavior.
Speaking
you know, if
facts,
they're waiting
yeah.
around, they're looking for something, you know, that's the best indicator that they see something else other than just seeking that short-term attention.
Dating culture is so hard nowadays. Like,
I think I saw her in some of the last videos. I think I saw her in one of the last videos. I can recognize her voice.
be with somebody, you don't need to question it. You know, they will make it known. So if you have to question whether someone likes you, they probably don't like you.
But since women are the ones who are more emotionally unavailable, how is a man supposed to know?
That's a good question. Because that woman will make it known when she is available.
So then why aren't women the ones who pursue and chase men?
I just don't think that could be a general thing. I mean, I think women don't chase men because of the stereotype that men are supposed to do a lot of things first. But at the end of the day, I think times are changing and men are hopefully being more, emotional, and women are taking a step forward. But some guys don't like a forward woman. Trust me, I know that from experience.
Why wouldn't they like that when it makes it easier for them?
Because some men like that damsel kind of... Everyone's different, like the puzzle piece. You find your puzzle piece. Some people like someone who's more head-on, and then other people just like someone who's more like... Guys like the chase, they're predators.
I think women like the chase because women are the ones who enjoy
Women do like the chase. I think we all like the chase because they're animals.
I think men like the cat.
It wasn't, no offense, but I think I might mistaken her. Wasn't she standing here? Yeah, that's her. Okay. But I think she was also in one of the last videos. I just recognized by the voice.
Women like the chase, but they don't like to get...
Why are women typically the ones who think they should define love and emotions?
Because men don't. Society and societal standards.
Society plus, as I just said. Listen, it's one thing if you can control that the dogs don't run away from the cage. But if you have someone who can manage to make them sit or eat or turn, you would probably trust the... How do you say it? You'd probably trust the leading role to the one who can manage them. Controlling is a good thing. Not letting them explode when necessary. But if we're talking about someone who's going to lead, a leader is always a manager. So emotional leader around the world are women.
Stories that we're told growing up, we grow up on stories of women being caretakers and being nurturers, and how we learn that love is kind of the end-all be-all, even though that's not necessarily true.
Is it harder for men to express their emotions, or is it harder for women to withhold their emotions?
I think both. I actually think both, because my boyfriend, he's actually like an onion. You have to peel him off for him to talk about how he feels, and I talk.
and when she's peeling him, she starts crying because he's like an onion. Thank you, girl. You made my mood.
Too much about how I feel.
So if he's an onion, does he make you cry?
Sometimes.
I mean, come on, you should do this reference. How can you not do it when you're talking about this thing? Come on.
Men have to express their emotions in order to prove they experience emotions.
I feel like they do, yeah.
Be a man, keep it to yourself, don't cry, because guys don't cry. which is sad because there's a lot of problems and issues with that. But I guess just that's how we were raised.
Why do women often complain that men don't express their emotions?
Because men don't.
I feel like guys are always guarded, and then like if they feel something, they just walk away or they just don't want to say it. So it's like us that always has like the most.
I think because at the end of the day, if a guy doesn't know when or how to express them on time, it leads to trouble. That is if you find a guy who cannot express them, let's say, who doesn't express them, but it doesn't affect his life, he's still like doing okay, managing everything, it doesn't bother you. But at the end of the day, it starts haunting him, and it affects again your life, your relationship, whatever. So I think this is why a lot of women, especially in relationships, they encourage their men, saying that, yo, listen, if we're going to work this out, we need to like have all the straight up facts. You can't just like try to take over everything and expect that emotions are somehow going to run away from you. No. You need to know how to work with emotions. Absolutely. It just, again, depends that you don't also over-exaggerate with them. Like, yeah, it's okay for a man to cry, but it's not okay for him to be a weenie.
Things.
Men are not expected to show their emotions. They're expected to be tough and look after whoever they're going to look after. And women are looking for a man that can go provide in that way and be able to hunt for whatever that is. If it's not meat, it's going to be money. If it's not money, it's going to be something else. But women are looking for that because they're looking for those providers.
Women can also definitely.
I'm sorry, will his girl get also a voice on it?
Be emotionally unavailable in the sense that they don't always show their emotion, even though we're taught to think that they do. So I think when it comes to men, it's about kind of turning that around and thinking that a man can also be emotional but maybe has trouble opening up. But I think actions can also say a lot about emotion and doesn't necessarily need to be words.
Do you believe that being emotional entitles women to sympathy or special treatment?
I think that depends on the person, because that's not really on the women. If we're more emotional just because we have more, hormones and we're more expressive with our feelings, doesn't necessarily mean we want sympathy or we want to get that. But if that's the way that the man feels, like they're like, oh, you crying, so I automatically feel bad. That's not really our fault in that. Do you see what I'm saying?
Where is the line between being very emotional and being bipolar?
When you get diagnosed with bipolar.
Why do women often say they want a man to be more in their feminine side, but you rarely hear men say they want women to be more in their masculine side?
Because men say straight up facts and women are lying. Well, like, come on! No offense, but a man wants to be a woman to be a woman and express 100% womanty. A woman wants a man to be a man and express 100% manity. It's just what you put into those 100% manity and 100% womanity.
Men and their
Oxford Dictionary, noted down, manity, womanity. I just invented another word that you should put off in your dictionaries.
feminine side is just sexy. I mean, when they're vulnerable and they can just be themselves and they kind of, they like to be pampered too, so. I think that has a lot to do with
explain this,
toxic masculinity, which also greatly affects men. I think that when a woman sees a man who can sort of embrace that quote-unquote feminine side, I think it goes back to
I don't get, can people even define toxic masculinity? In that case, can they define toxic femininity? Like, what is toxic masculinity? Because in a lot of times it just makes me feel like it's just a bad thing to be a guy. A lot of people really can't define it. I hope Oxford Dictionary can somehow do it. They already should know how to define manity and womanity.
And showing that a man really can be emotional and be vulnerable.
Is it harder for men to express their emotions, or is it harder for women to withhold their emotions?
Harder for women to withhold their emotions, for sure.
Yeah.
Harder for a man to express.
Is it harder for women to be logical or for men to be emotional?
That's a funny moment. That's a funny moment.
Is it harder for men to express their emotions, or is it harder for women to withhold their emotions?
Harder for women to withhold their emotions, for
sure.
Harder for a man to express.
Man.
Is it harder?
Well, now let's think about it again. Woman or man? Who's harder is it? No, I think still woman because at the end of the day, men are very honest creatures towards women. So I think yeah, for women, because they really have to somehow control. They're good managers, but they are not good controllers. And guys are opposite. They're good controllers, but they're not very well managers. At the end of the day, in order to control, she has to gather them all together and put it in the cage. The dogs, our metaphor of the dogs, she has to gather them all together and put them in the cage. Whereas for a man, he just needs to open up the cage. He doesn't necessarily need to manage them in order to express them.
For women to be logical or for men to be emotional?
Women.
Women to be logical.
Women.
I would say men emotional. Again, it's very traditional and guys not showing emotion.
If men are more logical
Okay,
and women are more
interesting.
emotional, why can't we just accept that men and women are probably more sexually compatible than they are emotionally compatible?
I think because today, a lot of people, specifically in Generation Z, have kind of gone away from that stereotype.
Generation Z. That's a good. I'll actually give her respect for like saying like this. I hear so much Gen Z, Gen Z, Gen Z, and Generation Z. It just sounds so much cooler. Yeah, W for this woman.
Stereotype in that way of thinking. And I think that that's probably something that people have always kind of secretly thought and felt, but today we're just a lot more vocal about it. So I think people really do believe that men and women can be emotionally compatible as well as sexually. They just won't speak it.
And like that
Has there
Latina
been a
girl
time when being
before.
rational kept you out of
Yeah,
trouble?
these guys are my favorite. Again, I'm gonna comment every single time I see this. Just look at this guy over here. I think yeah.
Trouble.
Yeah, over here he's coming. He's going to show the W
Yes.
sign.
Me personally,
Oh no,
I'm
wait.
definitely a
No. Stop talking. Stop talking.
Maybe
Yeah.
just kind of expressing too much and speaking more than I should have when I should have just not said
Here, this guy. He's like, oh, camera.
something.
Gotta say hi.
Has there ever been a time when being rational kept you out of trouble?
Yes.
Yes.
Me personally, I'm definitely a problem solver, but I am also very emotional, so I kind of have to use both sides, especially if I'm in a situation where I find myself getting emotional, and just really think logically and use my critical thinking and kind of just calm myself down and keep myself out of trouble, even if it's like trouble from myself.
Has there ever been a time when being rational kept you out of trouble?
No.
Can you think of any situation where being rational wouldn't outweigh being emotional?
No. I think sometimes being too rational and logical when you are trying to be vulnerable and open up can kind of backfire, and you might overthink and lose that confidence that you had to be vulnerable with another person.
Yeah, this
Many
is
women
often
want men to be
true,
more
unfortunately.
emotional. Why should men be expected to be more emotional like women instead of women expected to be more rational like men?
To be honest,
Because men are supposed to be the leaders in this world. That's why they should change the most. Probably, I don't have any other explanation. Because the social pressure is always on men. Come on.
men just need to be emotional because, like, y'all just suck nowadays. I'm sorry.
That's their whole explanation. Like, if I go out and say, well, women just have to be rational because, well, you know, this is like how it is nowadays. I'm sorry. People are gonna find me weird. But this, a lot of the times is taken for granted. It's taken like an okay idea.
I'm sorry. These situationships out here just suck, so.
Expressing feelings can kind of symbolize like weakness. So it is nice when a guy is kind of raw and open with you.
Not a lot of people are gonna like this answer, but I think that women
Give her also the mic, please. Like, she wants to talk also.
are actually testing men to see how strong they are. And I think that's a strong thing that women do naturally, is like they need to know that the man that they're with is a strong provider, is a strong individual with strong character. And they do this to see if a man's going to crack. And like, I think it's fine if a man wants to express his emotions, but I also think it's more important that he needs to hold up a strong front and show that in the very, very, very tough and chaotic situations where no one knows what's going on, that a woman could still trust her man to make the decision and solve the problem.
If most women
Although I'm rooting for him to give the mic to the girl, he's absolutely right on this one. No need even for interruption.
aren't interested in a soft, vulnerable man, why are they often trying to get a man to express his emotions and be more vulnerable?
I think, again, it can go back to a woman wanting a man to show that they care about her.
They need to know that that man actually has the capability of caring for something.
Yeah.
And that's actually a really desirable trait, to go care for something like a child or for a community or for anything else around them. And in order to have a demonstration of that care, there needs to be some level of emotion that can be expressed. No matter how small it is, but even some
She's falling more in love with him. I think if it's his, like, girl.
level is enough to
But
demonstrate
please
that.
give her the mic
What do
for
you think
what
about the
comment.
mixed messages men face that encourage him to be both strong and tough, but also open and vulnerable?
I think it can definitely be confusing, and I think women also can experience these mixed messages as well as men.
Sweet and submissive and strong and independent, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I think for men, it can be really hard when your role models are, very masculine people that you're taught to look up to your whole life. But then, you're grown up and people want you to be this different side. And I think it can be really confusing.
What does the expression man up mean?
Man up means it's the same lesson we've taught all men throughout history. Is like battened, beaten, bruised, but not beaten. You pick yourself up, you dust yourself off, and you keep going.
Be brave. Don't be afraid. Don't show that you're hurting or that you're showing any emotion at all, really.
Does the expression man up only apply to straight men?
No, I don't think so. I think any man of any sexuality can definitely still
Man
have
up,
those
yeah.
stereotypes influenced on them.
If women are so concerned with feelings and emotions, why will some shame a man who cries or needs emotional support unless he's gay?
Because I think it's seen as being weak, as a weakness. So obviously a girl isn't going to be very attracted to weak.
They're not. If a straight guy's acting weak, I think that gets rid of the, I don't know. I feel like for women that gets rid of the attractiveness, whether if they like saw a gay guy like crying, they'd be like, oh, what's wrong? Like, how can I help you? Just because like there's no like connection there,
We need someone to be tough. Someone must be tough. And the person that is most likely to be tough, if we're looking across, whether male or female, it's going to be mostly the male. If we need to send someone off to battle, if we need send someone off to hunt, if we need to send someone off to do something extremely tough and uncomfortable, more likely than not, it's going to be the man, and the woman is going to thank the man for doing so more times than not.
What do you think about the mixed messages men face that encourage him to be both strong and tough, but also open and vulnerable?
I honestly think it could be pretty confusing sometimes of just how society wants men to act.
Come on, wave here, man.
That's all. Yeah, it's just.
What
it's
is
confusing. I think it
this?
just blurs a lot of lines.
How about it's complicated?
It's complicated.
It's complicated.
It's complicated.
Yeah, I love these reactions. Although the guy didn't give his girl any single moment to speak, but I genuinely love this channel's reaction. They let me express my ideas as well a lot. In any case, this was the reaction today for this video. I've done a very long stream today, and next week, on Monday, I think, or you who are watching on YouTube next week, probably, because I don't know when this reaction is dropping out, but I'm giving you the Brad Cooper reactions. So be prepared, drop those likes, drop those subscriptions. I hope you enjoyed this video, and yes, I'll see you in my other reactions. Also watch the format Hiring a Philosopher. Genuinely recommend it to you. I worked very hard on it, worked weeks to edit it. So if you could just support me on that video, I really appreciate it. See ya.